appreciate everybody to be here tonight. I know that this is a very active season for all of those candidates who are out there. But, you know, usually when we do this, we have this great primary in March and we're all done. And then those who have general elections kind of take over after that. But with the craziness that's been going on in our state for the last 6 months, with legislative lines being withdrawn and elections being moved and openings, we just kept postponing it until I said, okay, we really have to do something before the summer, because I unfortunately have to tell all of y'all that I have an opponent. And I know that y'all find that hard to believe, but someone actually is running against me. And so this is my announcement to my wonderful people of Cameron County that I am seeking re-election and that I am going to be hopefully re-elected for a second term on the 13th Court of Appeals with your support. So when I sought this position 6 years ago, I told you the things that I had done that I thought would make me a good judge, and y'all elected me. So I think I owe it to y'all to tell you what I've done for the last 6 years and what the court has done for the last 6 years. We have been a very active court with the chief, who's here, who leads us wonderfully, who's also on the ballot and does a great job on the 13th Court of Appeals, and with my fellow Justice Nelda Rodriguez, which is our senior judge, and Dori Contreras Garza, who I looked for and could not be here tonight. We have done a magnificent job of keeping your Court of Appeals very current. We are measured every year to make sure that we put out as many opinions that we're supposed to put out, and we put out over 900 opinions a year. And in the 6 years that I've been on the court, I have written over 500 opinions. So I think that now you just can look at my record. And I stand by every one of those opinions. I have been reversed. I'm still right. They're still wrong. I don't care what they tell me. But I still strongly believe in every opinion that the court writes. There have been times, there are those who are running against me and the other members of our court that somehow seem to think that the 13th Court of Appeals is in trouble or needs assistance or that there's something wrong. I stand before you to tell you that that is not true. The 13th Court of Appeals is a great court. It has an outstanding reputation statewide. It is looked upon by the other Court of Appeals in the leading edge of the law. And I stand by that every day. And I know that because all of us work very hard on the 13th Court of Appeals, and I work very hard on many statewide organizations helping and putting forth what the 13th Court of Appeals. And some of the things that I'd like to tell you about, first and foremost, is that I am currently chair of the Texas Center for the Judiciary. And for all my fellow judges that sit here, that is the statewide organization that provides all the judicial education for the state of Texas. So I am chair of a 1,200 member strong organization elected by my fellow judges, the first female Hispanic to chair this statewide organization. And the first one since South Texas since 1992. And I don't think that the fellow judges would have elected someone who they didn't think was qualified. I've also been appointed by the State Bar of Texas for the Texas Access for Justice Commission, which is a statewide, and I was appointed by the Texas Supreme Court to that organization by Justice Hecht to ensure that access to everybody is available. And I think that that's something that's very close to my heart and very close to our heart, because we come from an area where access to the court system is so critical. That it shouldn't be for those who can, but those who cannot, because that's how we are measured every day. Do we provide to those who cannot provide for themselves? And that is so critical. There are over 5 million people in the state of Texas under the poverty level. Currently, we provide legal services at less of 10% of those who need it. And it is very critical that we remember that if our judicial system is going to work, it needs to work for all. Not just for those who can afford it, and not those who can just know someone, but those who can't afford it, and for those who don't know it. And so I sit both on the Texas Access for Justice Commission and I was currently on Solutions 2012, appointed by the State Bar President in order to find out what other programs can we do, can we bring. Because I tell those who are in Houston and in Dallas and the big rural area, it's great when y'all are up here, you have these great clinics and you have these great programs, but when you go down to Brownsville, or you're in Willacy County, or you're in Hidalgo County, we don't have those resources. And we have judges that are being faced every day with pro se litigants. And we have attorneys every day being called to help assist the clerk in the court with these pro se litigants. And you need to provide us with those resources. You cannot forget us and not provide us with those resources. And I'm out there every day reminding them that we have to come first. The rural areas have to come first. Those areas that need us need to come first, not the big cities. And one last thing that I think that shows that I not only, and the court, myself and the court, work, well, two things actually. I want to say one because then all of y'all are going to go, because she said one more thing and she said twice, is that I'm continuously always speaking both on statewide and local, statewide. I love to talk to our lawyers, and I know that all the lawyers here will vouch that when I can, I come speak to y'all. I love judicial education. I love legal education. I haven't forgotten that I am a Cameron County lawyer first and foremost. And this is where I learn. This is where I cut my teeth. And this is where I come home. I tried cases in front of Judge Gilbert and Elsa. I tried cases in front of Roy Valdez when he was on the court. And this is where I still come back every time and say, if you want me to talk, I'll be more than happy to talk. So I haven't forgotten. So I speak locally, I speak statewide, and I speak nationally. And I tell people, if we really were a bad Court of Appeals, would they ask us to speak on substantive issues of law? And the answer to that question is no, they wouldn't. So we continue to speak at all these statewide, because we are recognized and we are told by those we are in the system that we are a great Court of Appeals. And don't anyone who is out there campaigning, when they tell you otherwise, you tell them no. Our Court of Appeals in South Texas is one of the best in the state of Texas. Tell them that. Don't let them fool you. So that has led to a great honor that was bestowed on me in 2007 by the National Hispanic Bar Association, which is the national organization of Hispanics in the whole nation. And I was awarded the Latina Judge of the Year that year. And I tell you that because I think that it shows that when you elected me 6 years ago, I took my job seriously. I take my job seriously on the court with the chief and with Justice Nelda Rodriguez. And I take my job seriously when I represent all of y'all. Not only here in Cameron County or Hidalgo County, but when I take it on the road and I go to all the states, and when I take it out of the state, that I want to show that we have a great Court of Appeals. So I ask for your vote. I ask for your support. It is critical. There was a recent article in the Rio Guardian that was written how the Republican Party is trying to take over the 13th Court of Appeals. That's exactly what the Republican chair said. And I stood there and read it and went, why? We are doing a hell of a good job. And for them just to come in to somehow say that because a political party that they need to get rid of us is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. They can't point to anything that we do improperly, and they just want to make it about politics. And I stand before you to tell you, I'm a good Democrat. I came from a Democrat family. I'll always be a Democrat. I tell people that my father would come up from the grave if I ever did anything other than run as a Democrat. I truly believe that. But we are here because we are good judges. And because of discussions like that, I need every one of you to go out and vote. and vote, of course, May 29th, and then vote again November 6th. We can't forget that November 6th is a critical time for all of us. And tell them we have good judges in South Texas, and we're going to keep our good judges in South Texas. Before I put down the mic, it would be wrong of me not to thank the wonderful people that helped me put this event together. So I'm going to take a moment and do this. First of all, I want to introduce my staff. I write great opinions, but you can't do it without a great staff. They're wonderful, and I think that y'all need to know them because they're great people. Crystal Lee Guerra, can you please stand? She